Going to be moving on to our final match of the day. Is going to be Bunnyhoppor versus Jarla, and not the two fastest players in the world, but two of the most successful. Actually, Jarla has had a great year with a few seasons of GM, of course, and Bunnyhoppor, I think, I don't know really how to phrase this. Maybe quietly, still just amazing at the game. I don't think there's been any like true standout moments for Bunnyhoppor for me, at least this season. But he is in Division A again. He is doing well, and I think he will continue to do so.
Yeah, Bunny's just nutty. Like, I think, actually trying to say like, oh, this player's the best player in the world right now is almost impossible to do in Hearthstone. But just personally, I mentally have like an allocation of who the top tier players are. Both of these players are in. Free. Like they are just in there, and it's a pretty exclusive list. Like I would probably really struggle to get past like 8 names total that I'd be really, really confident are on that same level. So I genuinely think these are two of the absolute best players in the world right now.
Yeah, and again, even just based off career results, it's even hard to argue, right? But like I said, and I did mention it yesterday and in the curve as well this past week, is that Jarla, although has done extremely well, must be so hungry for just like the win, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the big payoff, because he does so well generally, but there just needs to be that one big win to really just maybe even propel him to a deserved reputation across the world, as opposed to maybe some lesser right now, where it's more people that really look into the numbers and stats that understand how good Jarla is, but no one's seen him like pop off on a big stage, right?
Right. But he is classically known as a fantastic control player, and so we're going to see him here kick off with this control priest build with the 2-offs, a little bit slower, a little bit more anti-aggro packed in, and Bunny is on what I would describe, if there were a pet deck for Bunnyhoppor, it would seem to be this one. If we're talking about Psycho being an early adopter of the Broom meta, I guess we have to give credit to Bunny, Boar Control, and a couple of others who were the early adopters of this style of rogue in terms of GM. Back in the early weeks when pretty much everyone else is bringing some kind of stealth aggro rogue, weapon rogue, that kind of thing. It was Bunny and Boar primarily in the European region that were kind of running this burgle / secret / miracle / passage, whatever the name is. We'll narrow it down eventually. We'll get there. And then everyone will disagree and try and call it something else, as is always the way. But they were the players who really first brought this deck to popularity, and Bunny has certainly looked like he is one of the most adept at playing the deck.
Yep, and he is bringing the secret package of the 1 ambush, 2 dirty tricks, 2 plagiarize. So there is the ambush in there, as you mentioned earlier today, to make his opponent have to consider the ordering of play and what it means to play a minion first, if at all, and the impacts that potential extra secret can make. But for me, I do like Jarla's priest approach, and same with any player who's brought the 2-of list this week. I think it's a really good heads-up play. As you can imagine, if you've been keeping up with any of these 2 players over the course of the last few months, years, Bunnyhoppor off to a rip-roaring start on turn 1. Yep, there's the rope.
Why is it still funny? That's what I want to know. Like, why do I still find it amusing?
Because it's gone from... Some things are funny because they rarely happen. Some things are funny because they always happen, but sometimes don't. This literally always happens, which is why it's funny. It goes full circle again.
The thing is, that was legitimate, right? Like, you can see from the fact he's ended up on what I think a lot of onlookers might think, oh, that's a bit of a weird line. Like, that was actually a legitimate process where he took 70 seconds considering his options. But that is the thing. He does just do that even when there isn't a legitimate option.
He could have 5 7-mana cards in his hand, and I think the rope would have still been seen that turn.
But yeah, this is really interesting, right? Because he throws this out. There is the threat of Penance in Jarla's deck coming back the other way to deal with this, but outside of that, not so much. And it does give him the opportunity to just start popping off on the following turn. But one thing that always bothers me about making this play as Rogue is that, so unless you have prep, you only get to play 1 secret, and that secret is one of your natural Rogue secrets, right? None of which protect your Hanar. It's not like you get like a Noble Sack or a Redemption or a Freezing Trap or anything that can actually protect your Hanar from being removed from the board immediately in play. So it kind of feels like you always concede your Hanar in 2 turns by doing this play, so you only get to get 1 secret off, and imagine Bunnyhoppor's just like, alright, seems fine.
I would also like to draw your eyes to the Shadow Step in hand, where Bunny could actually go Secret into then Shadow Step and then replay the Hanar with a Rogue Secret plus X next turn as well. Maybe now with that Blackjack Stunner. So I do agree with all your points, but definitely think Shadow Step raises another good question. Is Shadow Step this early too greedy, too weird, and now shock, Bunnyhoppor's going a completely different way, trading off the Pyromancer and then resetting up the Hanar with that Shadow Step to go for a secret.
Now let's take a look what's behind door number 3. It's dagger up and kill the Pyromancer and not even get the initial secret value. That's actually really sick. Like, I almost certainly would have missed that, but now I see it done. It's just so obviously right.
As it's most things Bunnyhoppor does.
Yeah. I'm still not sure, like, whether I'm fully behind Coin Hanar in that situation. Like, I still have problems with that as a play, just in general. But his reaction to the bad situation that Jarla put him in, which, again, commendation to Jarla for putting him in a bad position. His reaction to that bad position, I think, is spot on in that scenario.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because if it wasn't Coin Hanar, then it's maybe coin Dirty Tricks. If it's not that, then it's wait, hold the coin, maybe play Dirty Tricks on 2. But then at that point, then when is Hanar actually hitting board and getting some kind of effect? If Jarla ends up playing some minions down on curve, because then it's just always going to be a little bit behind, isn't it? Very interesting couple of turns, even this early in the game.
Does this build of Priest actually like play a threatening curve, though? That's my question. Because I think it happens less with this than it does with Highlander, like, weirdly enough.
Yeah, I don't know, though, because there's the 2 Disciples, I don't know these aren't really threats, but 2 Cleric of Scales, there's the 2 Wand Makers and 2 Wild Pyromancers, and then Apotheosis with any of those minions sticking creates a threat. So I think the numbers do add up a little bit there.
Alright, fair enough. Worth noting he also didn't have the stunner yet at that point, so being concerned a little bit more about aggressive pushes is relevant. Because obviously, once he drew the stunner, it's like, oh, if my opponent like curves out and then Apo's a minion, get wrecked. Just going back to your hand, right? So
I would actually love it if Bunnyhoppor just said, get wrecked, as he Blackjack stunned a minion back to hand. I just don't think it's something to say.
No.
There's still choices now, whether even if it's just between Plagiarize and Dirty Tricks. Although I imagine Plagiarize this early in the game versus Priest isn't really going to net you too much value.
Yikes. Worst Paladin secret being offered there. I think Bunny would have liked to take the freebie on the Pally secret if he got Redemption, Noble Sack, Never Surrender even. I think all of those would have been taken, but he got Eye for an Eye, which is borderline useless in this scenario. So just curved out with the Ferrocat instead.
My question now, Sol, is this ever worth the Cabal Acolyte raised dead gamble, I guess?
Probably. Like, it's kind of just your best tempo play anyway, right?
Right. It's just raised dead seems a little bit lackluster with the pool. Which might just still be fine. It's just more stuff, right? It's never a bad thing. It's just, if it was guaranteed, I think you do it without even thinking.
Yeah, of course.
But because it's not, and the pool isn't amazing. Ugh.
So the problem is the sequencing is really difficult as well, because you play Cabal Acolyte, it could be the one-of ambush, right? You said Bunny was playing a one-of ambush. So that's a problem, because then that messes with your steal even more. But if nothing happens, you still don't know whether it's Dirty Tricks or Plagiarize. So you could end up giving the full Cabal Acolyte combo to your opponent from Plagiarize, which is kind of an issue. But I still like going for it. Because, like, on the surface, outside of everything else, regardless of what happens from this outcome, which is the bad one for Jarla, this play still involved him playing his biggest available minion that turn, right? Which, it can't be that far wrong if you've done that on a Hearthstone turn.
Right. There is a 2/6 on the board now, which is pretty cool.
Exactly.
Here, though. Van Cleef now in hand. Not quite ready to go yet, I don't think. Although there is a prep secret bounce Van Cleef play.
Hello? Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
What?
I see what you're saying. Okay. You said prep secret bounce Van Cleef, as in bounce the Van Cleef? Yeah,
Van Cleef.
Bounce, comma, Van Cleef.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you not hear my comments on?
I didn't, sorry. You know, be more like me and say all your punctuation out loud, like a question mark.
Choose soon.
He had a slightly better Paladin secret that time round for Bunnyhoppor.
Yeah.
Don't let the door hit you.
It's going to actually bounce the Acolyte. Give it back to Jarla, but now it does cost 5, and it is unlikely that Jarla has another a 0-cost spell, i.e. the Raised Dead.
Yeah, second Raised Dead exactly at this point. I mean, it is still scary because, you know, you give one of their most powerful game-winning plays back to them again. They didn't use a Wave of Apathy last time to activate it, so you know that that combo is now a threat that you have to contend with for the rest of the game.
But we are slowly getting to the point that worries me just about this rogue deck in general, and I think I might just never decide on this, or maybe I need to watch 100 games of this rogue play. But well, Jarla just deaths the Van Cleef. There are ways in which he can kill the Hanar, or at least we can see it through the secret. And then what does Bunnyhoppor do? Like, plays a 4-2 in a secret, and then just kind of passes. I don't know. The game feels like it slows down so dramatically for the rogue when they have this kind of turn get answered.
I mean, he does have Secret Passage in hand, which, you know, I think the really problematic games are the ones where you don't draw the Secret Passage, even more so than when you don't draw big threats, because, you know, you don't get that continuous gas. You do just sort of make that all-in push and then die. But, you know, getting individual threats answered is not the end of the world from Bunny's perspective. He does have plenty of resources, even though it doesn't quite look like it right now, because that Secret Passage is going to be a fairly full hand of resources most of the time when he chooses to cast it. Which honestly might be now, although Ancestral Guardian does seem fairly reasonable still, but it's not it's not thrilling, is it? It's not a thrilling turn of Hearthstone.
So here's my question then.
Yeah.
As I guess you're taking on the role of defender of this rogue
I don't want to.
I know
Raven.
you don't, but
you've just pinned me here.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the Secret Passage going to hit that makes this a good turn?
Stuff. I don't know, like Miscreant.
I love the answer. Cards. Like, okay, well,
Yeah.
you got me there. It is going to hit cards.
Like Miscreant into lackeys that hit Spell Lackey or Dragon Lackey. The Spell Lackeys hit like Togwaggle's schemes and whatever else. Your Dragon's Lackey hits like Waxadread. Like, there's lots of ways that even after you don't get a big aggressive push and to end the game immediately, there's lots of ways where you can reset and just try and get grindy and value based, right? And we have seen that on multiple occasions where this deck goes super late, even against very greedy control decks.
Oh, secrets into dagger. Bunnyhoppor just loving the dagger plays today. And it does defend, to a certain extent, I guess, to defend its blackjack stunner if he ends up getting a potential Shadow Step number 2. And now Jarla, of course, has to consider what this Paladin secret is, also what the Rogue one, but he now knows there is one Dirty Tricks down. Is that where we're up to on the old secret count?
Natural secrets? Yes, I believe so.
Right.
Thy blood be born again.
Like this ordering as well, this will test for ambush. That he's going to find out, and then he can react. So he does have the evasive worm if he wants to clean it up, or potentially clean it up. There's still the fear that that's redemption, which would be a problem as well.
Yeah, Noble Sack also, right?
Yeah, true. Which it is. It's creating like tricky situations, isn't it?
Submit, heretic.
Nice play with the Subjugator there, just going to make this poison not have an effect. unless
Yes.
Bunnyhoppor can give it some kind of plus damage.
Yeah, poison defined as when it deals damage. So if it can't deal damage, it can't be poisonous. On top of the fact that it just can't attack at this point also.
Yeah, relevant if it's traded into, though, right? Like
Yep.
if Jarla had a minion to trade into it, then he could have gotten away with it.
Your presence offends me.
The card? Voiced by Sottle.
Indeed. Yeah, little known fact.
People are going to tweet me now, aren't they? Really?
I know someone's actually just going to believe that, yeah. Yeah, good response from Bunny, though. Jarla was trying to set up some weird point of board tension where he could challenge the ambush minion without using his biggest minion, and Bunnyhoppor was just very easily able to dissect that. And Bunny, at least in this matchup, has gone from the school of thought of the Myra's Unstable Element school of thought, as Gia was describing it, which is you use all of your other cards first for tempo,
Right.
and then you use Secret Passage to refill. Again, I think you should be very, very scared of looking for general rules with this deck, because I genuinely don't think there are any. So I will only make it as narrow as in this particular game of Hearthstone, in this particular matchup, Bunny has chosen to go max tempo with all of his resources before playing Secret Passage.
Yeah, and again, I'm not going to throw general rules out there, but personally, I normally only play I'll call it an early Secret Passage if you've still got cards in hand. If you are looking for like a specific card that can or will win you the game at a certain point, mainly in like weapon decks, I normally do focus it a little bit more in like Weapon Rogue if you're fishing for a specific weapon. But outside of that, I find myself leaning towards empty the hand first and then go, similar to what Bunnyhoppor's doing in this instance.
Yep. So yet more options available for Bunny. Same decision again. Because I think it's ever since that first turn where I called it out, right? And I said Ancestral Guardian is okay, but it's not thrilling or whatever I said. And then Bunny ended up doing something different with the Secret Hero Power. I think every turn since then, it's been a debate, right? Of whether Secret Passage was required on that turn. And I think that debate is going to remain every single turn until he does actually play it.
Yeah. I will say now, though, the Evasive Worm into the Evasive Worm does look pretty good, right?
It does.
The problem is floating the mana.
Yeah.
And if Sottle's taught me anything over the past couple of days, is you have to spend your mana. So I think Bunnyhoppor just has to Secret Passage here.
Literally illegal not to play Secret Passage in this spot, yeah.
So, from Jarla's point of view at this point in the game, we're edging towards 10 mana, moving towards the late game. Both players have tons of cards still left in the deck. Fatigue is a bit into the distance for now.
Mm-hmm.
With Bunnyhoppor not really having tons of card generation in hand now, is Jarla trying to or thinking about just starving Bunnyhoppor out potentially? Is that something to consider? Because he could Soul Mirror and just say, okay, all these good cards are gone. The board's clean. Next turn, go. And just say, can you keep making threats with no cards in hand?
So honestly, I think the most successful strategy as the Priest in this matchup is remarkably similar to what I was describing RDU doing in that matchup against Druid, where he just uses very inefficient answers just to be good enough for as long as he possibly can, just to stretch the few good cards, the few panic button cards out for as long as possible. That's accentuated even more by this really like slimmed down anti-aggro version of the deck, where you've got like no Plague of Death at the top end, for example. So on top of which, I think Jarla is running the no Sethic list as well, right? Yeah, he is. So he doesn't even have the opportunity to like generate a lot of extra removal spells for himself from the Sethic Veilweaver. So he has very few universal answers to board states. Soul Mirror isn't even that, but it's the closest that he's got. So I think the most effective way to play is just pretty much the kind of play you saw him execute here, right? Which is just do something that was good enough that preserves your best cards in your hand.
Okay. Because I definitely think this matchup, playing against this rogue as a slower death, is very hard to get this like the strategy of any given game right.
Give me a quest.
That was not the passage Bunny was looking for, I would imagine. It's weirdly too expensive.
Choose soon.
Yeah, it like at a glance you're like, whoa, that turns insane. You got 2 questions and other cards, but looking at the mana, you can't play them both. But the double Abyss as a backup doesn't seem too bad.
I mean, he could have done though, but it was just like questing Abyss, and then that's like all of his biggest threats gone. But yeah, I mean, like when I say it was too expensive, not only were the cards themselves expensive, but they were also like finite resources. He didn't like hit the one thieves, the evil miscreants, all of that kind of stuff, where he actually gets to refill his hand now going into this turn. So the fact that Bunny sat on no cards has just ripped a passage and has committed one of his biggest threats to the board. This might now be good enough to throw literally everything I said last turn out of the window and just press the button and just deal with it all.
And funnily enough, typically, I think you can get away with not Soul Mirroring this turn.
Yes.
Honest, because if you look at Wave of Apathy, like...
Yeah.
I'm going to describe this as a worst-case scenario.
Yeah.
Bunny makes the question bigger. He can't make it that much bigger. He has no cards. He gets Miscreant to give it Titanic Lackey. Oh no, the Soul Mirror doesn't kill it. Wait, now I have one. You know, like so. Even the worst case scenario, Jarla would end a Soul Mirror with his own questing adventurer, which seems pretty good considering he has cards and Bunny does not. So I think now we are flipped, and I think I would go for Wave this turn and buy even more time.
I mean, I can kind of buy it, but what do you then do with the rest of your mana this turn? Just not care?
Yeah, just chill. Just relax.
I mean, Raven, we just had this discussion. That's so much floating mana. You'll never convince me.
Oh,
that's the
sorry.
right
Yeah,
play.
rule number 1.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get fancy with like rule number 6 or something, but we missed rule number 1.
Yeah.
Oh well, there's a 1 thief for Bunnyhoppor.
I mean, I'm not gonna say it. And Bunny, okay, I thought Bunny on principle. I think Bunny is the only person alive who hates this card as much as I do. I thought he might on principle just turn it down, but he did.
He's like, give me a minute. I need to message an admin. I'm going to concede this game because I refuse to play this card.
Yeah. Quick sip of water to steel himself for the incoming nonsense. But honestly, it is just the perfect card for this scenario because I talk about this a lot, but even when Puzzle Box goes wrong, it usually makes you some resources. That's the one thing that it does fairly consistently, is either draw cards or generate cards into your hands. Like, with very, very consistent regularity, it does that. So it's kind of the one thing that Bunny needs right now.
The only thing it does more consistently than that is upset people.
Yes.
That's about it.
Upset 50% of the people involved in every game it's ever been played in, yes.
And sometimes it's 100%. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen.
That is true, actually, yeah. There's a real possibility.
No! Now what does he do?
Probably passage?
I
mean, of course I'm going to say that, right? I'm horribly biased against the Puzzle Box. But I'm pretty sure you passage first now, with that being the draw. This is more like it. This is more like it.
Maybe I can get away with not playing this box, actually.
This is more like it. That's the goods. What do you step? Do you want lackeys? Do you want board presence with the Jandis? I think you've probably got board presence covered, right?
Post Soul Mirror World? That's fair. But speaking of bias, I always try and shadow step Jandis. I think it's so much stuff for one card. Just obviously not one card straight because of shadow step, but you know what I mean, right? Like if this does get dealt with, you just get to just refill the board to a certain extent.
It's one thief. I was sure that was lackeys. Okay, interesting. Fireball. What a Hearthstone hand this is now for Bunnyhoppor.
Yeah, I was wishing he could generate a box of his own, honestly.
Well,
What
he's okay here.
is Elun's
Neophyte not really having that big of an effect on how powerful his turn is. Pyro Death Smite, still all playable.
Do you think he ever wants to go a little bit slower this turn and try and get the Apotheosis on the Pyro? Does that ever make much of a difference?
I mean, he's at 25. Like, you're kind of saying take more damage so you can heal it up again with the Apotheosis, right? Like, that doesn't make that much sense to me.
And I guess he can't clear enough of the board to make Bunnyhoppor play more stuff on the board to get value.
Right.
I suppose. So, yeah, okay, I can see it.
What is Elun's
He does have other minions. It's not like he's only got a Pyromancer to try and stick Apotheosis to.
Could still go with the Apotheosis here if you wanted to. I don't like it as much personally, but it's still possible. Yeah, it does seem to be what the other's going for. Okay. He deals with one less minion this way, but he gets a minion stuck in play, which he would have had to have like hero powered his Pyro. I'm not even sure if that actually fit into the mana. But he would have had to hero power his Pyro to keep it alive in between the spells, and it would have cost him a Holy Smite, which this way he still has a Holy Smite in his hand. Just doesn't have an Apotheosis anymore, but he has got 5 healing out of it.
Right, yeah. And I think it would have fit right because Holy Smite would have cost 2, Apotheosis cost 4. So the 2 mana floats.
Stars! Power for the taking!
No. You have to death, right? You have to death the questing. I was talking about the Holy Smite fits in the line without the Apotheosis, where you then have to heal your Pyro in the middle to keep it alive because you're not buffing it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Right, he made that turn, but with the other way, but would have had 2 spare mana to heal. Yeah.
Oh, got it. I see. Yep.
Oh look, more mage cards. And honestly, with one fireball in hand, does it make the second fireball just better?
Yeah. What's this being used on?
3-drop?
Sure.
Why not? If you evolve it with a Witchy Lackey, why not do something kind of similar-ish?
That's fair.
That's why.
This is kind of why I wanted to clear more that turn with the Pyro, because he's kind of out of clears at this point, right? That was his second Pyro. He's out his Soul Mirror. He's down 1 Renew that can find him, Breath or Nova or Mass AoE or whatever else. So I kind of wanted to AoE as much of the board as I possibly could that turn, because it felt like the last way to actually try and get a grip on the board.
Jarla, going to take a quick glance at his deck list just to see how far away he is from having an active Alex. Probably too far still.
1 card.
No. I guess the payoff isn't worth the wait if you need something more immediate now and a 4/10 that kills 2 minions.
Yeah,
seems pretty solid, honestly.
He was literally 1 in 6.5 next turn to activate Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. Oh, that's so weird. 13 cards left. He's just playing 2 Ops Priest and still got Highlander stuff active, pretty much.
Now this 4/10 is going to be a bit of a problem for Bunnyhoppor, because it's not like Bunnyhopper's setting up lethal, especially with the defensive Fireball and the Conjurer's Calling combined choices. Means that he's no longer set up on a high burst plan. And I do wonder how close we are getting to that box being played, and it looks like pretty close as Bunnyhoppor presses the button.
Good start. Sure. Nice. Oof.
Good? Question mark? He swapped his little minions for 3/3s?
Okay, this has stopped being okay, Raven. This isn't okay anymore. No, not okay.
Wave of apathy. It's gonna get it. It's gonna get its work done this turn.
It really is. Yeah.
Although if that's counterspell, does he have to test with one maker first?
Or 1 maker dump the spell. Yeah.
Yeah, one maker cast whatever.
Yeah, there's potential for him to get confused here as well, because if he doesn't make the board space first, then the mirror entity, which it actually is, won't proc when he plays the one maker.
Mhm. And no real reason not to trade, right? These minions do need to die at some point, or at least
Well,
the
that-
taunts need to go away at some point.
Well, that's the sequencing issue, right? Is that he wants to play Wave of Apathy before he trades, because why does he want to take 4 extra damage on his minion? So it's actually really awkward dissecting the secret here.
Sure. And now it's like, does Mind Vision ever win me the game?
Okay, so now he knows.
Oh, that's a good one.
It really is.
Oh,
He has
now
not
does-
yet ruled out Spellbender, though, unfortunately.
what if he just doesn't trade?
What?
Well, if he trades, then like you said, Spellbender's a problem with the Conjurers, right?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so what if he just doesn't
Ooh,
trade, take the
big
Conjurers
brain.
on the 8-drop?
Big brain. I don't think that's actually
Oh.
good, but it is clever.
Mine is not your turn.
I'll
Be
take
credit
it.
for that. Yeah.
Okay, so he's just not going to cast it at all this turn. Going to go for the other playback. I think he was considering it.
Yeah. Stealing the hunter's marked minion there is pretty unfortunate. And yeah, that was a really difficult turn to be super optimal with the secrets. I'm not entirely sure whether he was or whether I even want to really break it down. Obviously, a slightly bigger minion in some worlds has been given to the opponent, but I explained why that risk kind of has to be given.
Wait, this turn is also sick because the satyrs don't generate anything because you can't kill anything off. Okay, you can kill one minion off. Has to kill one of the 1/2s off as well. Just to make room to get the value from one of them at least.
Yeah. I'm pretty
It's just
sure
a little bit weird
having
the way it looks.
space for the Conjurer's Calling on a Xavius is more important than space for the 2/1s being summoned,
That's
right?
true,
'Cause
that's
I
true.
think he's CCing one of them.
Right, okay, sure.
Yeah. Ugly.
Now there is still just a 4/6 on board for Jarla. He still has that Conjurers. He has a double Conjurers next turn, right?
No.
Oh no, sorry. It's the post.
He just mind visioned an
you
already
are
half
right.
version of it.
You're right, yeah. I'm being silly.
It's not active. He needs all of the hulking overfiends. All of them.
I wonder.
Any play, right? Kill a 3/3.
You can trade the 2/2 into the 7/2, right, as well. Which is clean. Doesn't have to do that pre-Conjures, of course, but
Yeah.
is a clean kill on one of the more problematic minions he has.
Mm-hmm.
He wishes he could kill this beast cleanly, but... Oh, okay, that's what the heal's for then, right? Heal to 8, you can trade into the beast and the 3/2, and then that means he gains a 3/3 on his side of the board. Oh no, because I only go to 8, what am I talking about? Silly.
I don't know. I don't know what you are talking about.
Rubbish again. I'll
He wants
refocus.
to ensure that he was value trading
Oh,
6/6. Okay. So he killed a 6/6 instead of a 3/3 and a 3/1 with those 2 attacks, and it cost him 2 healing on his own face. Does that make any sense? I'm not sure that makes any sense. Interesting.
Me neither. I'm not... It's the same power, but less minions was the
Yeah.
trade then?
Yeah.
There's no, weird, well, if he has another Conjurers, then the bigger minion's kind of more of a threat, because it's a better target? I don't know, I'm stretching.
No, I mean, you know all the cards left in his hand now at this point are natural. There's no more randomly generated
Oh, yeah,
cards left.
he can't, and hasn't he played both as well to generate the mage cards now?
Hey!
too soon.
Nice. Titanic Lackey. Make that thing useful.
And also, Draconic Lack is huge as well, right? Because Bunnyhoppor has only got one card left in his deck, so
Yep.
he does need maybe one extra little bit of a boost. For threat-wise, at least.
Has to be Renew into Plague. I don't think Galakron does enough. Okay, if it snipes exactly the Beast. So he trades
And
the 3/3 first, he heals himself, he goes to 3, goes to 8, he kills the Beast, and then there's 1, 3, 5 damage. Yeah, I mean, there are worlds where he remains alive this turn, sure.
I wonder.
Problem is, Bunny played Plagiarize. In case you thought the game couldn't get any weirder.
I wonder.
Jarla trying to work out here whether the heal is worth more than the minion generation from Galakron, I think.
It has to be. It just has to be.
I think so too, but Jarla, not a gentleman to rush
No.
decisions. Regardless, the Galakron does have to kill the beast. That's pretty straightforward. Job 1 right now.
Yo!
I've been inside that thing.
Okay,
Actually
well,
happened.
now there's less power on the board.
So now we're actually in Galakron's Mirror World. I kind of said that as a joke. I wasn't really expecting it to actually happen, but here we are.
Well, that was your first mistake, wasn't it?
It
Sam?
was, yeah. You raise a good point. And now there's some good, like, now we're nearly stable on Jarla's side. There's actually some pretty good cards left remaining in his deck. There weren't that many good cards when all he needed to do was panic and clear a board really desperately. But if this doesn't hit absolute juice, which it kind of hasn't, pretty mediocre.
Spellkin Sinister Strikes.
Sure. Just needs one of them.
One is lethal, yeah.
Yeah.
But if he plays one, he's not playing Galakron, but he does have backup, right? He has a Titanic Lackey, the Pharaoh Cat. He doesn't have to play Galakron this turn.
Yeah. Agreed. I still think that Titanic Lackey ends up on the Obelisk.
Too soon.
Oh yeah, he's just going to play it first.
Alright, full clear, push the damage, put Jarla back in the position where he needs to draw. Does make sense. Of course, copied versions of Galakrons generally, can't think of too many exceptions, copy in the state that they were when they were played, or copied or stolen, or whatever they're in. So, because that Galakron was played, it was plagiarized, and it was in the same state it was when Jarla played it, which was killing 2 minions, invoked up 1 level.
I think here it's... Oh, okay. I didn't know whether it was always one maker first.
It's not good enough. It's still lethal on board, even with the steel. Wand Maker go to 8 with Radiance? That's not it.
That does proc his Cleric, right?
It does proc his Cleric, so he can then find Renew. Is this just weirdly the worst Murazond you've ever seen in your life? Your opponent's just not playing any more cards. So he does find the Renew. Is the Penance better?
6, 2... You can kill the 2-1.
Penance kills a 2-1?
3. Go for Renew.
Okay,
okay,
best of both worlds. Yep, sign me up.
Fine. You got us there, Jarla. You got us there.
A simple spell should do.
Wait, we have the Draconic Studies. And, like, so this is something I wanted to bring up last turn. Now that he's played Galakron, he's a priest. Before he played Galakron, he was a rogue. If you can remember that far back. I know it was only, like, 90 seconds. That's fine. So
It feels longer.
Yeah, 1-mana rogue spells actually deal damage. Some of them, you know, Sinister Strike,
Right.
Plague of Madness actually adds in. Deadly Poison as well adds damage. Whereas as soon as he switched to a priest, he then loses the ability to actually pick up game-ending damage.
Just the Ysera. Why not?
It's pretty interesting, right? It's an easy thing to
Yeah.
forget as well. Like, I don't know for sure whether Bunny was expecting rogue spells or priest spells there at that point.
The biggest thing for me was, even if he doesn't clear the board that turn that he played Galakron, he's on 25. Yes, he's taking fatigue, but he's on 25, right? Like, he's
Right.
not going to just die to Jarla's one-card hand, right?
Right.
So I think there was time to play the spell team before the Galakron.
Is it happening? Is it happening, Raven? Oh, the Deathwing.
Well, he has to, right? He just has to. But there is still the Kartut as well. There is the wave of apathy Ysera.
What if?
This is just game one. So now Bunny just goes wave of apathy. Ysera maybe gets a bounce, maybe doesn't. Probably doesn't want a bounce, honestly, but still has other options. And then the Kartut to back it up.
Dream your Deathwing, yeah.
No, he could bounce his own Kartut after it's died once.
Ah, okay.
Ah,
Nice recovery, Raven.
thank you.
Yeah.
What about?
My point being is, this does not actually strictly win Jarla the game.
No, not even close. Not even close. Bunny has multiple options. It's not even necessarily
Yeah.
wave Ysera, right? He could just go. He could play the other two. He could just go Chrono Breaker, Kartut. Like, that's totally justifiable here as well.
What about?
Remaining cards for Jarla, 7 of them. Raise Dead, Wave of Apathy, Penance, Apotheosis, Kaj, Kobold Spellkin, Murazond. Murazond is the scariest one, for sure. That's the one you
Yeah.
probably have to think about the most.
This timeline amuses me. Our home. Tombs.
Like, this would be a great Murazon for Jarla.
Oh!
Apotheosis! Jarla's just... Oh! And a Reliquary! I said the word right that time!
You certainly did, yeah.
Oh, insane!
3 fatigue for Bunny. He's on a clock. He doesn't just have to survive this Deathwing, he has to win the game. Where does that come from?
Now he might want to bounce the Deathwing!
He might very well want to bounce the Deathwing at this point, yes.
Oh. Okay, so there is hero power into Cabal to steal the 1-3.
Sure.
I'm just thinking of options. That's all. Maybe not this turn.
Wait,
maybe not
sorry.
next turn.
Can we recap? Did you just say hero power, Cabal, steal the 1-3? Is that what you said?
I think so.
You wouldn't want to steal the Deathwing with the Wave of Apathy in that world?
Oh, sure. Okay. I was assuming, like, not necessarily this turn, in general, to deal with the 1-3.
Okay.
Like I was saying, he might not do it this turn because I think he has to Wave of Apathy this turn.
Mm-hmm.
I guess so. His Kartut's good. Oh, I don't know. It's getting ruining me.
Yeah.
So he's waiting. He's waving him because he just doesn't want him to heal as much.
I mean, he's also, like, there's, like, penance off the top that just would deal 14 to his face or whatever in that scenario. That doesn't feel particularly practical either.
A simple
we can-
spell.
Gosh. The options are all so good.
Oh, it's so much value. Yeah, it's just Kaj Sarah, right? You can't dream everything.
No,
You can't dream
Yeah.
everything.
yeah, I was thinking about the Kartut, honestly. Because Jarla can just outlast him, right? If Jarla just keeps healing, Bunny's going to die to fatigue and Jarla isn't.
Have you seen this 14 attack lifesteal Deathwing? I think he's okay for healing.
Could get dreamed.
He could get dreamed, yeah. That's the nod from Bunny. I think if you pause the tape, you can see the exact moment where he gave up on winning this game.
Yeah, the light world just doesn't quite cut it, does it? When it's facing down a 14-9 Deathwing with Apotheosis.
What happened this game, Raven?
A lot. So, a lot. This started as a rogue versus a priest.
Yeah, dude, like, viewers tuning in right now, like, oh, here we go again. Typical Europe, Bunnyhoppor playing a priest mirror and losing. Where have I seen this before? No, this isn't a priest mirror. This is priest versus rogue.
Yep, speed this game up, Jarla. It's like kryptonite to both of you. That's why you couldn't pick it.
17 damage, 5 fatigue, 22 total this turn, so Jarla's still a little bit off, but is almost guaranteed to have it on the next turn now.
Is there ever... Crazy suggestion time. Is there ever a reason to just trade the Ysera?
I mean, I think the game's solved. You can do whatever you want. If you want to trade the Ysera, that's fine with me. I can't give you a compelling reason not to.
Okay. I'm just trying to think, like, what are, like, the ultimate pair of Ysera cards that could dig Bunny out?
Yeah.
I don't think they exist, but you do have to consider them.
Yeah. So, like, the reason why I say the game's solved is, like, you can trade, and then Bunny has no stuff left, and you win the game. But also, you can just go face, and then he dies from fatigue into fatigue anyway at that point. So, like, it just kind of doesn't seem to matter that much. Going face also cuts into the Ysera Awaken outs, because he'd be damaging himself in the face. Like, you can really get into it, but at the end of the day, I think you just pick a line and you commit to it hard either way. It doesn't really matter that much whether you go full aggro or full trade on that last turn. I think the game was over. I think Bunny's expression on the previous turn when he got the light well and went, yeah, all right, that's probably one turn too far at this point. I can't win anymore. But come on, what was that game, Raven? Like, what did we just watch?
I honestly don't know, but what I do know is Jarla's got to be feeling pretty happy because he was just seconds away from losing at what I feel were multiple points in that game of Hearthstone, and somehow, 20 minutes later, he's the victor. So he must be pretty happy to sort of I don't say steal that one away, like, you know, it was undeserved or anything like that, but it looked grim for him for many, many turns back to back. He just about held on and managed to get the win there. So a rough one for Bunnyhoppor to have to bounce back from.
I'm sorry. I just had a flashback. I just remembered how good the box was, and the Jarla beat that. Like, that happened. That box happened. Like, after the Soul Mirror and everything else was gone, and Jarla actually still managed to find his way out of that. Oh, he's a good Hearthstone player, Raven. That's what we're figuring out here, day by day, week by week.
He is pretty good. But what is pretty good as well after a game like that is a little break as well. So we are going to go to one, and we'll be right back